Hey everybody, and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program RP-0. We are out on the launch pad today with our moon lab. It is finally ready to go. We did some testing in the live stream, but we'll keep that one. It's something special for those of us who made it. Sorry. Anyway, we are just waiting for our relative inclination for with the moon to come down to something a little bit more respectable. Yeah, right around now. 0.26 seems worth a go. So we'll just let physics stabilize, set our throttle to full, ignition sequence start. And alright, everything's spooled up. Let's go ahead and get these clamps off and 10 skyward. Looks like all of our engines are doing well. No failures. That's awesome. This is an older DN5 series, as you can tell by the clusters of E1s on the boosters, instead of the smaller cluster V1s and the RD171. Yeah, anyway. Alright. And, yeah, alright, smooth sailing so far. So I'm going to try to go ahead and get this thing into orbit, and we'll talk more about our mission on the way. So I'll pick all of you up in just a little bit. Here's a new me. All in all, a pretty easy flight. Now, our margins for this mission are actually pretty slim, best I can figure. All I ever did was test to low Earth orbit, and even then getting this old bird to haul this much tonnage that far with enough room to sling it at the moon was maybe asking a bit much. This could have definitely benefited from the update to the boosters, but I think I actually built this before we started integrating the RD171s onto this launch system. So a lot of this swaying is me trying to maintain my relative inclination with the moon. As you can see, it kind of varying wildly here and abouts. But this did lead to kind of an aggressive ascent profile, trying to basically keep as low of a altitude as possible and translate as much of this chemical energy into speed as I possibly could. There's booster sep. They are away and clean. Now we're just on our 4 RS-25s, and with a very respectable 1.4 thrust to weight ratio, we really don't have to lean back like we had to with some of the other ones. And finally, our super awkward fairing set is away, and we are just left with our little Mars our moon outpost here. Testing grounds for a future Mars outpost, hopefully. So we'll get the comms booted, we'll get some of the panels extended, we'll make sure that all of our fuel up here is nice and locked, because we're going to need pretty much all of it. Just hoping that everything goes well. So, like I said, the margins on this were a little tighter than normal, but this is an uncrewed vehicle, so we don't really need to worry about G-forces on the crew or anything. We can just go ahead and keep the pedal to the metal as long as we can, trying to get as much of this translated into orbital speed as possible. And plus, being a little lower in our resultant orbit will net us a nice little benefit thanks to the Oberth effect. There's a core stage separation, and we have a good light on our HG3, which is going to get us the rest of the way to orbit, which I had hoped to do while leaving more than 3 kilometers per second in this stage. But I mean, really, the transfer to the moon very typically is about 3,100 or so meters per second. So if we could keep most of that, or at least that much, I feel like we would have been pretty much par for the course. Although things are not really looking that good for us. We're really riding right down on the margin right now. But I think we do have about 1 kilometer per second in our capture stage, or our braking stage. But I'll turn this back over to old me. Alright, and there's shutdown. 186 by 153. That's not bad. That's actually, I don't know. That 186 is a little better than I thought. The problem here is we have 2.9 kilometers per second left in our HG3 stage. Yeah, we really need it to be a bit more than that. But let's go ahead and get out here and try to plot for the moon. So where is it? Okay, no, I don't want to switch to that. I would like to set a maneuver. Dang it. No, not the space station either. Come on. Alright, so let's do, there we go. Add maneuver, thank goodness. Alright, yeah, you know, that's not that bad. Let's just, let's see what we can get out of this. We'll just tug on this node for a very long time. Not quite long enough. And, okay. So our relative inclination isn't that bad, 0.26, so we shouldn't need to make any adjustments there. There's an encounter. Awesome. Let's go out here and focus view and see if we can't tune this down just a little bit more. Maneuver node, thank you. And, yeah, we'll just roll the scroll wheel here a little bit. Tippy tap, tappy, tippy tap. Yeah, not that bad. All right, well, nope. Okay. I guess this is just what we're going to go with. 3.146 kilometers per second. We have 2,946 left in the tank. Well, that's a bit interesting, isn't it? Oh, well, I guess we're just going to have to resort to using some of our braking stage. We should have enough in the margins there to pull it off. Really, the job of that silver tank below the lab itself, its sole purpose was to capture us in orbit of the moon and start our descent to the moon. So I guess we can just use 200 or so meters per second out of our descent to the moon and hope that doesn't end up coming back to bite us later. So we've got about an hour to wait until we make this burn. So fingers crossed. So we'll just take a little time warpy interlude as we warp around to our node and I kind of chew my thumbnails on whether or not this whole thing is going to work. Alright, well, we're a little bit more than 6 minutes out, so I'm just going to lay on the RCS thrusters a little bit here. It says the total burn time is going to take about 7 minutes and some seconds, 2 seconds or so. I think there's a hidden fuel tank in this. It's probably right above the science module down at the bottom because all of the other fuel tanks on this lab are locked, so I don't know where this thruster fuel is coming from, but you know what, it's going to lighten our load a little bit, and maybe by burning off some of this excess fuel we can get the extra delta V that we'll need out of this HG3 stage. I don't for a second think that we're going to make up for a 200 meter per second deficit by burning off a couple of grams of Aerozine and N2O, but I don't know. Every little penny helps, so I'm just going to sit here and lay on the H key for a little while and get this burn going. And so as to not bore you all with this pretty much static shot of me literally laying on the H key, I've decided to speed this burn up in post. Sorry, it wasn't all that interesting. It was a lot of me holding on the H key. It's really every little bit that we can put out the back is less that HG3 has to move around for us. So, I mean, yeah, like I said, it's probably not going to make up for these margins, but I don't know, it'll help. Maybe it'll ease the burden on our transfer stage or on our capture stage later on. There's ignition of the HG3. We have a good light, thank goodness, because we only had one left, and if that had failed, we'd basically be scrubbing this entire mission. There's absolutely no way we'd make it out to the moon without it. So this was basically just a lot of trying to stay very true to the node, holding down the H key, trying to burn off the last of that thruster fuel that's in the S4B stage, extending the other panels and setting up the other comms, and then running some science, because even if we've run said science before, we can load it into the lab and give them some data to work with. Although this low Earth stuff I've already gotten into a lab at the low Earth station, just if there's any experiments I didn't think to have. And also in a weight saving or mass saving measure, I guess would be the more appropriate term here, we've dumped all the water. So this thing will absolutely 125% need a supply module before we can even think about bringing a crew to it. But the practice of a targeted landing is kind of half the point for this thing, because there's no way we'll be able to set up a Mars outpost or research station / colony thing without being able to do targeted landings. And that's a big part of what I'm going to try to practice here. And we'll just see how helpful MechJeb is. Or is not. Either or. We're going to figure this out. Stage insufficient avionics. Oh no. Oh, this is a problem. Alright, well, we can light our other 4 AJ-10s and really kind of get some of our muscle behind this. Thrust to weight ratio is 0.26. Well, looks like I still have lateral control using the I, J, K, L, H, and N keys. Seem to work, but roll, pitch, yaw through the WASD keys do not respond. This is really interesting. I wonder why avionics only limits me on WASD. Yeah, this would have been a great time to have some really offset thruster placement so that I could use my translational tools as rotational tools. Because I'm drifting so far off this node. Oh no. Oh, I hope we get avionics back soon. Why didn't I check that in the VAB? Oh. Alright, well, we're a little off target here on the node, but it looks like we'll be there real soon. There it is, shutdown. Okay. Alright. I think we can work with this. We're just, yeah, alright, whatever. We're coming in on the other side. That's not a huge deal. Still a kilometer 0.03 per second delta V left in our capture stage. That should be more than enough to capture and give us even a couple hundred left over to start our descent. Why is this node moving? Okay, well, fine. That's locked. Yeah, I guess there's still some fuel in the top thing somewhere. Those are both locked still. Alright, that's interesting. Node's still gonna move? It has. It has shifted quite a bit, actually. It is nowhere near as low as we want. So, alright. It's moving again. See, I don't have avionics. How is this a thing? Alright, well, I'm going to try to use my translational tools and see if I can't manipulate this my own self. I would like to get it as low as we can. I'm comfortable with right around the 20 kilometer, 25 kilometer range. And there it is, drifting back out again. 16, 7, nope. What are you, okay. Bring it back. When I let off the controls, it goes entirely onto this collision course. So I'm trying to fight with it currently and see if I can't fix this. Yeah, see, this is not me doing anything. This is it doing stuff all on its own, which I don't understand. It should have no input of its own currently. And alright, well, I'm going to open these up and see if we can't mitigate some of this pitch error. Bring this back up to something respectable. It's a bit low. We'll just let it fall. And go lock this fuel. Lock. Come on, you two. Lock. There we go. We good? Nobody's going to misbehave and start using thrusters they're not supposed to? Good. Alright. Oh, yeah, I totally meant to transfer fuel the other way. In. Let's move this. In. Oh, this is going to take forever. Okay, well, maybe not as long as I thought. No big deal. Still way too long, though. Sorry. I should have shut up. Then I would know to speed this bit up. But, alright, we're almost there. There we go. Fantastic. Alright, let's see what we bought. Oh, 10.7. That's a bit low. So, let's just plot a correction. Yeah. No, I need to know. Okay, correction first. Then we'll figure out what it's going to take to capture. Oh, 65. That's too much. You gonna lock open for me this time? Okay. At 10.7. No, that's not showing me what I needed to show me. Well then. Oh, come on. Why are you gonna tell me my current variaps is twice? 70,000. That's what I need to see. Can we lock that open, please? Thank you. Now let's make it so we can see the node at the same time. And yes, it moves. Fantastic. All right, let's bring you down to about, 20, 25 is what I would like. There we go. 25. Okay. And then we will come back in here and add a maneuver to capture. And bring that orbit in nice and, oh, yeah, not quite that low. Maybe? Let's still got the periapsis over there, so that's going to be lower than this. Not going to show me any numbers, huh? Well, alright then. Nope, wrong way. Wrong way. Alright, let's just go with this. Maybe we'll tune it a little bit. It's just, I don't know. Not going to show me my numbers. That's going to be fine. Everything is fine. Alright, so we'll just jump here back to the spacecraft and kick on our time warp and get ourselves on the way out to the moon. So I'm kind of just waiting for it to say in space high over Earth. There we go. Let's take some science. And yeah, we'll just, hey, look at that. We actually don't have this yet, but I want to save the biological experiments for when we're actually on the surface. I think we'll get more data points there, but we're going to keep all of these, store them locally, except for the biological experiments, and then transfer them into the cupola so that we can load them into the laboratory later and keep running experiments. This gives us a chance to get data from high moon and low moon and over the biomes of wherever, which will give the lab lots of data to work with once they get there. So we'll kick the time warp up into higher gear now. We're just waiting to get into space high over the moon. We'll take another batch of readings there, and there's our transfer point. And we can actually make this correction to our altitude a little easier now. We're just going to haphazardly throw these thrusters around, as we still do not have avionics control. So by mashing a bunch of buttons and figuring out which one turns me in the correct direction, and I will unlock the fuels up top, and using the system or the output window there at the bottom right, periapsis 27 kilometers, good enough. And we can even utilize this spin, considering that we don't have avionics, and then time warp very quickly to keep us on our node that we're going to need for capture into orbit. How innovative and only slightly cheaty. Anyway, so we're going to go ahead and capture in this high moon science now, and then again transfer it all into the cupola. And once we have a crew on board, they will transfer it into the laboratory and give them all kinds of spangly data points to work with, which is nice. They're going to have lots of things to do from the minute they get there. So let's make a couple of quick fine tunes to that orbit. Good, doesn't throw off our node very much. And let's get on down to the moon and insert ourselves into orbit. Alright. Uh-oh. Let's unlock these. There we go. We got thrusters. Ullage in our engines a bit. Oh, why are you wobbling? Where are you going? Uh-oh. It's not letting me throttle up, which is something I didn't think. Oh, you can throttle up without signal. You can't do it without avionics. Alright, so we're going to take a little bit of a roundabout here and use flight computer, as unreliable as it might be. And yeah, okay, we want to tell it to burn for 846 meters per second at 100% throttle. Once it gets around to the maneuver node, burn. Yes, ignition. That's solid. And yeah, wow, I totally meant to click outside of the window before holding the H key. We can tuck flight computer away now that we've got our burn started. Thank goodness, that was a heart attack moment. Alright, well, yeah, that was kind of working around the system, but we're a little behind, and I don't really have the authority to do much about it. Can we turn this off now? No, not quite. We should probably wait for it to tell us something about our avionics. Maybe, perhaps. 'Cause yeah, I still can't really move this thing or anything like that. So while we're here and can't do much else, let's go ahead and run our science report. Flight computer, get out of my way. Alright, we'll reset the biological stuff. Ooh, solar particle. Actually would net us 14 science if we radioed it in. And magnetometer, 8.8 science. How do we not have a magnetometer scan from here? Well, let's radio that one in. We can run it again and dump it into the lab and get paid twice for doing the exact same thing. That's always cool. Alright, well there's our camera change for capture. We'll just keep the rest of these experiments. Film return camera. Yeah, we're not bringing the film return camera back, so we'll probably just have to stock those for later. Run the magnetometer again, keep this one. Alright, so let's get it all transferred into the cupola. There we go, and we're already up to 18 science in there. That's pretty awesome. Transfer. There we go, thermometer, transfer. Geiger counter, transfer. Micrometeorite, cool. Perturbation barometer. Alright. Oh, we've already got telemetry. We can probably just ditch that one. I'll get to that later. And magnetometer. That's the list. Cool. Tuck all this stuff away. That's our space low, and now we've just basically got to ride out the other 400 or so meters per second left in this burn, so it looks like we'll have a net positive of right around 200 meters per second. No big deal. I guess we can go ahead and start opening up a few of our fuel tanks, but might as well top off these upper thrusters. We're going to need them later. And just a little bit of the speddy uppy bit, because I really wasn't doing much in this particular moment, just kind of keeping my fingers crossed, hoping that I'd see that beautiful Avionics unlocked segment pop up at any given second now, which is really kind of bothering me, because I would like to very much raise this periapsis by adjusting my angle, which I can't do without Avionics. This is not bearing well for me. Avionics unlocked! Avionics unlocked! Oh, thank goodness. We can move things now. Oh, wow. This thing does not like me. Oh, yeah. It's still trying to hold on the node. We're going to have to cancel this command. There we go. That does shut our engines off. That's fine, because we are currently on an impact course. Which is not exactly what I would have liked. So, and our apoapsis is still entirely too high, so let's adjust this angle, light these engines again. Yeah, we're probably going to have to end up burning pretty much straight up. That's... dang it. Alright, as long as we can keep some of this angle, we can keep reducing our apoapsis while raising our periapsis to something that's not going to pile us into the ground. Although I think just standing it on end is probably our best course of action, because yeah, we are walking into a collision course currently. Alright, oh, well, at least it's positive now. 10 kilometers, 15, 20 something. Yeah, it's swinging around. We're good. Shut down. 29 by 23 kilometer. Ah, that's a real tight orbit. Perfect. Now all we have to do is nail the landing. That's always the fun part, isn't it? So we'll just swing out here, take a look. What are our options looking like? And looks like we're getting ready to cross over a good section of the lunar seas. So maybe I should just kept that impact trajectory, and I could have just landed this thing right now. A nice, broad, flat-ish landing surface would definitely benefit us greatly, because it gives us a nice broad target in case our supply pod misses by a bit, or at least it gives it a broad area around it to which to safely land, hopefully in very close proximity. So let's just go ahead and get this show on the road, shall we? There's deorbit again, so I don't know how many meters per second I wasted, but we're down to like 65 on this capture stage, which is not quite the margins I'd hoped for. Stage. Okay. Ignition. Alright, all 6 of our lunar descent module engines are now lit. We can fold out the landing gear because I will probably forget to do it later. And we're just going to give ourselves a little bit of a heading bump here, seeing as how decidedly already in the negative our periapsis is and how quickly we are coming up on it. Yeah, I would like to not pile into the surface at 1500 meters per second, and considering we can displace 2.4 kilometers per second in 16 minutes, we kind of need to drag this descent out for all of that time. So it's going to be a long one, folks. Hang in there. And a long one it was. But having done these exceptionally long burns to land on the moon before, I feel like I kind of had the technique a little bit in my pocket, and we're going to try to spend as much time zeroing out this horizontal speed as we can, see if there's maybe some science neglected to collect. I doubt it, because I only clicked the one. Don't really remember what I was thinking about doing here, other than trying to deflect us a little bit. I guess that would be north-ish? Nope. Maybe east-ish, west-ish, or something. But very delicately trying to balance that. Time to periapsis doesn't really tell us very much, and neither does periapsis itself, but keeping an eye on that altitude true and our rate of descent, which I very loosely gauge by the clumsy stock gauge up at the top. If it gets down to that 100 range, it's probably time to pitch up a bit. We're also going to use some of this excess delta V that we have to try to turn a little bit to get us away from this rocky, mountainous area that is going to prove very difficult to land multiple things on. As you can see, we've got about 1,800 meters per second in the tank, and at least a kilometer per second to kill off, because that is our relative speed to the surface. And also going to take this time to dump some fuel back into the cupola, because that appears to be the only thing that keeps those thrusters firing, and I do really, really need them for translational control. If I didn't, they wouldn't be there. But just as I thought I had all the margins dialed in. Dun dun dun. Okay, whoa. 10 kilometers current altitude, speed 825 meters per second. Okay, yeah, we need to pitch a bit more up. This is not the landing site I had hoped it would be. This looks terribly terrainous. Jagged, almost. Even, oh yeah, that rate of descent has gotten a little beyond me. Oh boy. 8 kilometers altitude, 780 meters per second, and rate of descent still close to 100 meters per second. Alright, come on. This thing does not want to stay on axis. Now, I guess we are a little off balance still. One of these sides might be a little heavier than the other. Alright. This is way more upward pitch than I'd hoped. This is a lot of fuel being spent and not piling into this hill, and instead of slowing us down, oh god, 6 kilometers altitude. We're still moving 730 meters per second. Yeah, it's hard to slow down when you have to use all your energy to go not into the side of a hill. Oh god. Alright, 3 kilometers altitude. I think that's just this hill coming up to meet us. Alright, rate of descent is slowing. Slowing, 1.7 kilometers. Come on. Climb! Climb! Please get past this hill. I need you to climb. 1.3 kilometers. Altitude. Still descending. Oh, it's up to 1.5. The hill is falling away from us. I think we missed that one. Alright, rate of descent. Starting to 0. Oh, there it is. We're climbing. Okay. Let's just keep some of this climb. We can start pitching back in and braking some more. Oh. Alright, yeah, so long as we're going up, we're buying ourselves more time to slow down, which we absolutely need. We're still going 630 friggin' meters per second. Yeah. Should have used more powerful engines. Very much should have. Alright, well, we're back up to 2.1 kilometers, 2.2 kilometers and climbing. Let's hope all that fuel spent doing that doesn't come back to bite me later. And, well, after that fairly hair-raising incident, the rest of it went pretty well. We were able to garner enough altitude and kind of find that happy place somewhere in the middle where we could maintain a reasonable rate of descent and manage our braking, although, yeah, I did kind of pitch into it a little heavier a little bit later on, just trying to find that middle ground still, but middle ground would be found, and we would come to a nice place here at around 3 kilometers altitude where we could just zero it in. And now we're going to start getting this thing ready for its final descent phase, which means we'll prep these 2 of our lunar module ascent engines for shutdown, seeing as how we don't need a 1.9 thrust to weight ratio to set this thing down on the ground. Alright, the last 50 or so meters per second. We're just going to try to zero this out. We are descending even at this angle, but we didn't really choose this landing site. It chose us. There's the last 25 or so meters per second, so we'll just go ahead and try very quickly to get these engines ready for shutdown. There we go. 2 engines off. I forgot about the delay. Wow, that really kicked us around a bit. Alright, so let's find our zeroed vector here and shut them down just for a second. Alright, we'll just kind of let that retrograde vector come back to meet us. Current altitude 2.4 kilometers. We're pretty much stopped. We got about 3 minutes of burn time in the tanks. 1.36 current thrust to weight ratio running on 4 engines. So let's see if we can't just use our translational controls to zero out some of this horizontal velocity. Wow, we're already up to 34 meters per second, 2 kilometers altitude. Let's light them up. Let's better way of zeroing this out is just kind of lean into it. And wow, we are not slowing down as fast as I thought we would. Don't think it poses a real danger. I say this now, altitude 1.4 kilometers, current speed 26 meters per second. I think that's actually within our impact tolerances for these landing legs. I would just rather not find out. So, oh yeah, the last 20 come a lot quicker than the first 20. Yeah, it's still a kilometer off the ground, so we can probably get ready to shut these down. We'll just try to zero out a little bit more of it if we can. Yeah, we'd like to kill as much rampant horizontal speed as we can. We'll leave the thrusters running because it's going to do us actually no good whatsoever. Yeah, I don't know. I could sit here and try to count, but I'd rather just light up the engines when we get to around 20 meters per second. Alright, so final phase, landing time. Current altitude 650 meters. 600 meters. We're still too slow. Fired them too soon. Dang it. 500 meters, 550 meters. Yeah, we're going to have to shut them down again. Dang it. Alright, 500 meters. Light them up. 14 meters per second. Still too soon. Oh, I'm very trigger happy today. We're down to about 200 meters per second left in the tank. Alright. 4.5, 300 meters. Oh, this is coming in way too close. Oh boy. Alright, 250 meters. Dang it. I keep forgetting. Thrust to weight ratio is getting better. 190 meters. Alright, one last burn, right? Just let it get going. 150. Come on, come on. Don't fight me. 120 meters. Dang it. 80 meters. Alright, 5 meters per second, 40 meters, 4 meters per second, 30 meters. Oh, come on, don't run away from me now. Come on. 20 meters. Light 'em. Touchdown. Oh, that was a bit rougher than we thought. Like 5.6 meters per second. Whew. We're down. Yay. And I really hope the sun will come out soon. We can go ahead and get rid of these. Man, 90 meters per second left in the tank. We were... Oh, man. That was a lot closer than I thought it was. Eek. Wow. Alright, well, might as well get this thing prepped and ready for the crew. So we'll get the lab hatch ladder extended. Extend our forward ladders. These two are for the cupola. There we go. And there's Earth right there off our shoulder. Fantastic. Alright, well, let's go ahead and run our science experiments. Might as well. We're here. Make sure everything is working properly. Alright. Oh, yeah, that drill is making us dance a little bit. So I guess we're moving to a new landing site. Good job, Impact Hammer. You did good. Jeez. Alright. Seismic. Anything else? Okay, yeah. We'll turn RCS off and SAS off. There's no reason that it should be burning anything. Alright. Biological sample, magnetometer scan, telemetry analysis, temperature scan, Geiger counter. Oh, we actually get paid for this one. Yeah, let's radio that one in. Should we? Yeah. Fine. We're just going to do it. We'll rerun that one manually for transfer to the lab. Why not? Reds, there's the barometer, seismic accelerometer, thermometer. There should be two other experiments there. Like right off here on the right hand side. Okay. Where'd they go? Alright, well, we'll just keep the rest of these. Seismic scan. Yeah, we can get nicely paid for that. 36 science. We'll transmit that one home, rerun that one also. Atmospheric pressure, film return camera. Yeah, keep that one. Biological sample. Yeah, we should probably keep this one. Inoperable after transmitting. Laser surface scan. Hydrogen scan. Alright. Yeah, we should just be able to run the keyword again, or run the action group again. And everything that has stored science shouldn't work. So, yep, seismic scan, we'll keep that one. And Geiger counter, we'll keep that one. Excellent. So, let's go ahead and transfer all of this into the cupola. Yeah, it's got 26 science on board already. Not bad. Alright. Gina, biological sample, mystery goo, transfer. It's already got one. That's interesting. I guess they are the same experiment. The mini mystery goo and the other mystery goo. So dang it, I could have totally run those. Oh well. Alright, we're going to get the rest of this transferred in here. Give our science crew lots of data to work with. Telemetry now, yeah, we already got that one. Waka Waka. I've probably clicked on that at least 3 times since it's had data that we already have. Obledo of neutrons, the magnetometer, the seismic impact hammer, and the station science module we will have to run when we have a crew. So, that's going to do it. This thing is on station and ready to be inhabited. Of course, we got to bring a supply pod to it first. That's our next objective here. But that's going to do it for this one, everybody. Thank you so much for hanging out. I really do appreciate it. And I will see all of you in the next one. So until then, see you later.